Hey guys, Steve Trowbridge here. I finally do have Netflix here, and that means that I can watch certain shows, and this show, particular show, being Degrassi the Next Class. I did a review on the show of the first 5 episodes, basically, and I watched them on YouTube, and I basically gave them a review, and a pretty positive review. I liked it. I liked the writing of the show better. I thought that it was a lot better than like the last 3 to 4 seasons of Degrassi: The Next Generation. I thought that things were a lot better. The characters were like the characters that were in Degrassi: The Next Class that were in like the last few seasons of Degrassi: The Next Generation were, I don't know, they were easier to care about, and they got more of the spotlight, so that way they could really show their potential and really develop. So yeah, that's I like it so far. And for this video, I'm going to review episode 6 of Degrassi: The Next Class, which I think is called "Not All Men." I think hashtag Not All Men. I don't really like the whole hashtag thing. I don't really like the intro, the new intro. I think it's too just pop. Kind of like Neon Diamond 101 put it, like it's too pop it, like teenage girl bubblegum pop. I don't like the Instagram, Facebook, whatever pictures, how it shows them. I liked the old show where it kind of just showed all the characters and the actors' names would pop up, and it just showed them doing things. Um, like I don't know, just doing things like I'm trying to think of like an example. Like it showed Eli in the theater, and it showed Tristan and Tori sword fighting, and then it showed a lot of other things too. Just things like that. I like that better. I don't like the whole Instagram, Facebook, and that kind of popped up a few times this episode. But other than those things, those are really my only complaints. So I'm gonna get into the episode. So there were basically 3 storylines going on here, which was pretty much the format of this show, and it was kind of the format that they started to adapt and started to use in like season 10 onward in Degrassi: The Next Generation. But I think with this show, they really pace it a lot better. They really write it a lot better. Um, so the first storyline that I want to talk about is the fact that Frankie is still kind of, I don't know, she doesn't really know who she is. She's kind of lost. And she basically at the beginning of the episode, she kind of bumps into is it Jonah? Is that who it is? I think it's Jonah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she bumps into Jonah, and he's basically saying like, like I can guess what's wrong with you. You're like spoiled and everything, and Frankie is like, oh, so I'm your type, basically is what you're saying. And then Jonah was like, showed her this volunteering thing, and he's like, you want to try it? You want to try it? And then she's like, sure, I'll go. But and like the whole tennis thing, like he asked her if she plays tennis, and of course she does play tennis. So for the sake of the storyline, but yeah, so she's gonna bring the tennis balls to the volunteering thing. Um, and then later on, she's talking to Shay and Lola, and obviously there's that whole Shay Lola Tiny thing going on because Shay ended up letting Lola go out with Tiny, and but she still isn't like, she acts like she's fine with it, but she's not fine with it. She still likes Tiny, and she's trying to deal with it. So Frankie tells Shay and Lola about her volunteering, and they kind of talk her out of it. Like they're set, like Shay wants Frankie to go with them because she doesn't want it to be just like her and Lola and Tiny, like she like I forget who said it. I think Lola said it would be like a threesome, or I forget who said, Tiny or Lola said like a threesome. That was kind of fun. I think that Neon Diamond 101 kind of referenced that. But that was clever. But she thinks it'll be awkward, so she wants Frankie to come with her. And so she does. And so basically she skips out on the whole volunteering thing, and they're at the place, the Dot, or the substitute for the Dot, whatever the name of it is now. And I think it's the Dot, but correct me if I'm wrong again in the comments. But so yeah, they're I guess Lola got the wrong Sunday, so Tiny went to get her a different Sunday, and Lola went with him. And then Shay and Frankie started talking, and Like Lola obviously is not happy. Like she wants to go, but she doesn't want to seem like she has a problem with the relationship. And then Frankie, like is obviously conflicted because she knows that she's skipping out on the volunteering, but and Shay was like, well, we were there for you. You're the one that wasn't, didn't get over Winston for like the past month or something, and then so she ends up staying, and then later on she goes to the volunteering thing, and then Jonah was like, well, you kind of ruined it because you said you were going to bring the tennis ball, so we had to play capture the flag instead. And Frankie was like saying, look, I'm sorry and everything, and then Jonah was just like, well, the people who came here want to change, but you don't. And so it kind of ends like that, and then it shows Frankie getting home, and Winston is there because he's waiting for Miles to get home so they can finish the history project, but obviously it doesn't happen, so they kind of exchange words. Frankie says she wishes it could be like last year when it was a lot easier, and Winston was just like, yeah, I do too, and then Winston just kind of leaves, and then Frankie's there, so that's that. Not really terribly interested in that storyline. I don't know why. Like, it's not that I'm not interested, but it's like the thing that I'm least interested about. And I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not what I'm most interested in. So I don't know. I would kind of like to see Frankie and the other dude, Jonah. I think I think that's Jonah, get together. That'd be kind of interesting. But yeah. So I'm going to switch over to. I can't go through each storyline like that. I have to kind of just give you the basic, because it's already 6 minutes in. So, all right, so we go to Zoe and Grace, who are friends, and they're hanging out. And Mom makes it clear that she doesn't want Zoe hanging out with Grace because she doesn't want people to think that Grace is gay, and then Zoe was, or no, wait a minute, she doesn't want people to think that Zoe is gay. So, and she thinks that Grace will like influence her. And Zoe was like, well, is that the worst thing ever if people think I'm gay? And then her mom was just like, well, you have other friends, hang out with them, don't hang out with her. And I thought that was pretty interesting because we kind of saw that in the last Degrassi, the old Degrassi with Becky and her family, but I don't know. It's pretty interesting, but and so I guess Zoe wants to find her dad, because she wants to talk to him and see what he thinks. So Grace is like, well, I'll help, I'll help you, I'll try to help you. And then so they go into this guy's trailer. I guess she thinks this guy is her dad. And I can't remember if this was a growing storyline in the past episodes. I can't remember. I'm sorry if I'm not summarizing it the best, but they go into this guy's trailer, and then Grace has like the guy's underwear, and she's like large and everything. It was kind of funny. And then the guy comes in, and then he's like, what the hell is going on here? And then like he says, sit down, I'm going to call security. It was funny. So that happens, and they kind of explain themselves, and the guy's just like, whatever, you can leave. And so they leave, and then like he kind of talks to Grace. He talks to Zoe, and he's kind of just like, you need to live your own life, don't let your mom live it for you, basically. You need to make your own choices, you need to be you. And then so Zoe kind of listens to him and kind of, gives her some advice, and then she's just like, can I have your number so I can call you? And the guy's like, no. And then he just like waves her on so she can go, and then she leaves. It was funny. So then they're walking, and then Grace is trying to cheer her up, and Zoe was like, I have no one, and Grace was like, well, yeah, you do, you have me. And then Zoe just like goes in and kisses Grace, and Grace doesn't really like how she reacts. She doesn't really like step back. She doesn't act freaked out, but she doesn't smile either. So it's like you don't know if she's like actually into Zoe that way, or if she is, but she just doesn't want to admit it. So it's kind of I don't know, something going on there. So I don't know. So that's kind of left as kind of like a mystery, but Zoe obviously thinks that Grace feels something for her. So I don't know. I like that storyline. I think the chemistry between Grace and Zoe is pretty good. The actresses, I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just really interested in that storyline. I hope that they can, work this out. and we find out, what's going on with Grace, how she feels about this whole thing. So that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. And then we go on to pretty much what I feel is the main storyline, and that is Hunter and his friends playing the video games, and his getting his video game club started up. And his friends are kind of worried that because they put this video together, and they're kind of worried they'll look stupid. And Hunter's like, I don't care if we look stupid, I have to know that I at least tried to get this thing started. So he puts it out, and later on it shows him looking at the fundraiser, and they've actually raised a bit of money. They didn't think they were going to make any money, but they actually have raised like 1,000 of the 5,000, which is cool. And then Tristan comes in, and Hunter's like, he's like, have you heard what they've been saying about your club? And Hunter's like, if they've been making fun of us, we don't care. And then Tristan's like, oh no, they're calling you a misogynist and sexually like sexism or something. I don't know, but like Hunter basically says my exact thoughts at that moment. He's like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And it's like, I agree with him 100%. Like, because it is really stupid. Like, there's this whole feminist thing going on. It's really stupid. So Tristan basically gets Hunter into a meeting with the feminist club, and they're saying all kinds of things like, oh, like like the woman in the video game, it like makes them look like sex objects or something, and then like it encourages violence or something, and violence on women, and like the guys in the video game are presented as more powerful. And Hunter is just like, he's getting mad, and like I am getting mad with him, because again, it's so stupid. Like, I don't have anything against feminists, like I don't mean to offend anyone when I'm like saying this, like, but I do think in the show that they're being like really stupid about it, because it's like, it's a video game, obviously it's not real. It's just what it is. It's a video game. Like, that's how video games have been, like, forever. Like, usually, like, not all video games, but usually the women in the video games are usually the weaker ones, and then the men in the video games are usually the stronger ones. That's not always how it is. I'm not saying that's always how it is, but usually that's how it's been. So Hunter is like getting really angry, and then he basically goes after the Muslim girl, and he's like, well, I don't, I'm afraid. Like, he starts listing off like everyone's afraid of something, and he's like, oh, I'm afraid of you, like, of bombing us. Like, so he basically calls the Muslim girl terrorist. And he did go a little bit farther. That was a little bit too far. But it's like, she kept insulting him and his club, so it's like, I mean, what, it's like, then the moment he shoots an insult back, it's just like she gets all teary-eyed. But he did go a little bit too far there, so later on it shows him, like, in the computer lab, and he obviously has, like, really a bad anger problem. He's smashing the keyboards, and he's, like, goes to smash the computer, and his friend, I can't remember her name, but she walks in, and she's like, what are you doing? And he just stops, and she's just like, look, some of the things that you said in there were kind of dumb, but, they're being dumb too, and, just find a way to fix this. So she basically saying she's on his side, and she'll stick by his side. So he goes in, he says, I'm sorry, and he tries to fix it, but then it's like, he keeps trying to fix it, but then the Muslim girl keeps like twisting his words around and throwing them back at him, and he's getting like, he's getting angrier, and not angry, but irritated. He's trying to explain himself, but she keeps twisting his words around and throwing them back at him, and it's like, oh my god, he's trying to say he's sorry, he's trying to explain yourself, but you're not even listening. You're just being an oversensitive bitch. Like, seriously, that's just my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. More power to you, but that's how I felt. I really felt, I really felt for Hunter here. So they're obviously shutting down his club. And another thing I want to point out, Tristan, okay? Tristan was acting like such a... I want to be careful, but really he was acting like such a... man. Basically, I didn't think he took Hunter's side enough. Like, it's almost like it's almost like he was completely taking the feminist side, and he wasn't even trying to defend the video game side. Like, he automatically took the feminist club side instead. And I just thought Tristan was being a real pussy here. I hate to say that word. I don't like using that word, but honestly, that's what I thought of him this episode. I thought he should have defended Hunter's club a little bit more. but he didn't. So it is what it is. But so Hunter is obviously not happy, but he goes back to his friends, and they're like, "Hey, at least you defended us. You stuck up for us." And